The AI policy mess just got stranger, and Anthropic is right in the middle of it. According to The Verge, the company has spent much of this week trying to get its newest models back online after the Trump administration ordered it to cut access for all foreign nationals, including users inside the US and even Anthropic employees. That forced Anthropic to block Fable 5 and Mythos 5 for everyone, which turns a launch problem into a global access problem. For anyone building on frontier models, this is a reminder that availability can now be shaped by export rules as much as by engineering. Here's the bigger picture on Anthropic. The Verge reports that the company says the rules were so unclear that it had to take the broadest possible action and shut off access rather than risk violating the order. That matters because it shows how a policy decision can ripple through customers, internal teams, and product planning all at once. If a model can be pulled or restricted after release, enterprise buyers have to think about regulatory interruption the same way they think about uptime or pricing. And for the industry, this is another sign that frontier AI distribution is becoming a national security issue, not just a software rollout. On the business side, the inference market is still attracting huge checks. According to TechCrunch, Baseten is reportedly close to finalizing a $1.5 billion round at a $13 billion valuation, just months after its last mega round. Baseten sits in the part of the stack that helps companies run models efficiently once they are already trained, which is why investors keep calling this the inference gold rush. The timing matters because demand for serving AI at scale keeps rising as more products move from demos to real traffic. For customers, that usually means more competition among infrastructure providers and potentially more options for deploying models without building everything in-house. TechCrunch says the round would be one of the clearest signs yet that investors still see room for specialized AI infrastructure, even as the market gets crowded. Baseten's pitch is not about training the biggest model. It is about making model deployment faster, cheaper, and easier to manage in production. That distinction matters because the companies shipping AI features now care just as much about latency and reliability as they do about raw model quality. If this deal lands, it would also suggest that the money is still flowing toward the picks and shovels layer of AI, not only the headline model labs. OpenAI is also making moves ahead of a possible public listing. According to TechCrunch, the company hired Transformer co-inventor Noam Shazir from Google DeepMind and former Trump AI policy official Dean Ball in the same week. That is a notable mix of technical firepower and policy experience, and it comes as OpenAI continues to scale both its products and its regulatory footprint. The hiring spree matters because an IPO-ready company has to look strong on research, execution, and governance at the same time. In other words, OpenAI is staffing for both the lab and the boardroom. TechCrunch reports that Shazir's arrival adds one of the most recognizable names in modern AI architecture to OpenAI's ranks, while Ball brings direct experience with Washington's AI policy machinery. That combination tells you where the company thinks the next pressure points are likely to be. As OpenAI grows, it is not just competing on model capability, it is also preparing for scrutiny around safety, regulation, and market structure. For listeners, the takeaway is simple. The company is building out the talent bench it will need if the IPO timeline keeps moving forward. Amazon is taking a more direct shot at NVIDIA's turf. According to TechCrunch, AWS is in talks to sell its AI chips to other data centers, which would expand the company beyond internal cloud use and into a broader hardware market. CEO Andy Jassy has said the opportunity could be worth $50 billion, and that gives you a sense of how seriously Amazon is treating the chip business. This matters because AI infrastructure is still constrained by compute, and every major player wants a bigger piece of that supply chain. If AWS pushes ahead, it could give customers another option for AI hardware outside the usual NVIDIA-centered stack. TechCrunch says the move would build on Amazon's existing chip strategy by turning its in-house silicon into a product for outside buyers. That is a meaningful shift, because selling chips to other data centers would put AWS in more direct competition with the hardware vendors that currently dominate AI deployment. It also reflects how the economics of AI are spreading beyond software into the physical infrastructure underneath it. For companies trying to scale AI workloads, more chip competition could mean more negotiating power and more deployment choices. Quick hit: Adobe is rolling out AI assistants across Photoshop, Premiere, Illustrator, InDesign, and Frame.io, according to The Verge. The company is also launching a redesigned Firefly AI studio in private beta with persistent context and reusable assets, which is aimed at keeping creative work organized across projects. That is a pretty clear sign Adobe wants AI to feel less like a side feature and more like part of the core workflow. Before I let you go, keep an eye on whether Anthropic gets a clearer answer on the export rules, because that will tell us whether this was a one-off scramble or the start of a broader access policy. Also watch whether Baseten's reported round closes at the size TechCrunch says it might, since that would be another strong signal that inference infrastructure is still one of the hottest corners of AI. That is TSL, Byte Sized for Friday, June 19th, 2026. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcasts. See you tomorrow.